Hi, I'm Tammy, and today we're going to be doing a graduated bob. Okay, we're going to cut this into a graduated bob. This will be a good haircut for her because her hair is a little bit fine. It'll keep it full. I'm going to razor cut it in the bottom here. And I'm going to section out under the occipital bone, if I'm saying that right. Under this like bone right here where it starts to go down, I'm going to section from here down, and we're going to be layering and graduating that. And we're going to take it a little bit shorter. It's going to come down like this. I'm going to take it a little bit shorter, about right here. And I'm going to lay the hair against the neck and cut like that. And that's going to make it real clean. And I'm just going to curve up a little bit right there. So I'm going to take this middle section like this. I'm going to pull it out, straight out like this, and I'm going to cut that corner off right there. Now I'm going to go in a tic-tac formation, like up in a clock. I'm going to take that section like this, and then follow my guide. Take another section. Again, I'm going in a tic-tac method. Sort of a semicircle. I'm going to pull it out like this. I'm pulling it at a 45-degree angle. You can just sort of double check your work as you go down. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Now for my next section, I'm going to take maybe about a 1/2 inch to 3/4 of an inch, about a 1/2 inch actually. And I want my graduation to be down here, so I'm going to be pulling everything down, all in a 45-degree angle. So I usually start my sections in the middle. I'm going to pull it down like this. You can see my guide underneath. And I'm just going to follow that through in a 45-degree angle. I want it all to come down. If you want your graduated bob to go higher, then you would lift it higher. But I want my graduated bob low. I only want a little bit of graduation, so I'm going to pull it down. If you want it real low, you only want a tiny bit of graduation, you would pull your guide really low. But I'm kind of going to be in the middle and have more of a classic graduated bob, so that's why we're going to do it this way. And I usually start sectioning in the middle. I mean, I was taught actually to go from one side to the next, but that's not necessary. I always find it's better to go in the middle and then go back and forth. Because whenever I start on one side, for some reason it starts to get longer on the other side, and I have to go back and recheck the whole thing anyway, so I always find it's better to start in the middle, but that's just... So I'm just going to keep taking sections, 1/2 inch preferably, smaller sections, you'll get a better cut. If you try to rush through it, it's not going to look as nice. But you can go through this pretty quick, just take small sections. What's nice with a razor is you don't have to go back and do too much texturizing. The texturizing is done while you're cutting. And I always like to go on the outside of my fingers like this. It doesn't hurt. I mean, scratch a little bit, but it doesn't hurt. And you get more of a precise cut than when you do it on the inside or the outside of your hand. I do it on the inside of my hand, like this. And it's something to get used to, but that's how I've been doing my haircuts, my razor cuts for a while, and they work really nice. And then you're not only do you have more control, but you also don't get too much texturizing. Because if you're doing it here, you get a lot of texturizing, and it might be too much for some people, especially if they have finer hair. It might be too hard to manage. You want to make sure the section is straight. You don't want to pull it too hard to get too much tension. You want to make sure there's no waves or unevenness. At this point, what I'm going to do is I'm going to section out the top part of her head. Just where her hair starts to angle, just where her scalp starts to angle down, I'm going to just section out that top section and just get it out of the way. Because I'm going to do that a little bit different. So it's called sectioning out your rounds. So I sectioned out my rounds like that, meaning the rest of it rounds over. I'm going to pull this out. It's my last section in the back here. Her hair is pretty fine, but don't start taking huge sections just because her hair is finer. Still take small sections. It really makes a difference. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to tuck that behind her ear and sort of make sure I tap on that ear because I want to make sure I don't cut too much. And there's really not much there to do. So I'm going to kind of comb that down, tuck it behind the ear. The reason why I'm tucking it behind the ear is then it won't get shorter in the front and you won't get that hole there by the ear like people get because of that missing hair there. You always have to make sure that you leave it a little bit longer there to compensate for that area. Now, we're not really looking for too asymmetrical of a look. It's automatically going to be a little asymmetrical, meaning it automatically gets a little bit longer in the front with this type of a haircut. So I can kind of see in the bottom here. I'm going to cut that like that. Sort of keep it straight. And as I do this, I want to make sure I tap the ear for sure there. And we'll clean that up really good after it's dry. But that's about the length I want. Now I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Okay, now I'm going to cut her rounds, and the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to section up just like a little V in the back right here. It just doesn't have to be a real precise V, but just a little V in the back right there. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull this back into it. I'm going to pull all of this back into it, even the sides. Everything just gets pulled back. So everything is kind of getting pulled in this direction, and then it's going to fall forward. And this side I'm not going to pull too low. I do want to keep this a little bit higher. Front area, you know, it tends to get a lot longer because everything's been directed back. So I'm just going to pull that forward, pretty much where her hair starts coming forward, like that. When her scalp starts coming down, that would be her natural bang area. That's where I'm going to pull it forward from. Kind of see like those finer pieces. You might as well just take those off and kind of pull it in with this. This area here and the sides, I'm going to clean up after it's dry. Or some sort of brush that's not too rounded and it's not going to change the look of the haircut. Click on this video to see how I did this long layered haircut. Click on subscribe to subscribe to my channel for new video updates. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends. Let's connect in social media.